Welcome to the Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined this week by co-host Gramps. Our guest this week is Max Juhasz of Dope SEO. How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing awesome. How you doing?
Good.
Pretty good. I love when we had to have the discussion about how to say your name before we started.
Me too. It's a gift and a curse. It's a Hungarian telemarketer's nightmare. So I know if I know you, if you can pronounce it. I feel bad for my kids though, because I've gone to every award ceremony for them. It was almost like flashbacks of childhood where and for this award of So.
I can kind of relate. My last name is Grisolia. Which is Italian. So, and I've heard every rendition possible known to man, from granola bar to grease monkey to grizzly bear, you name it, I've heard it. So I can relate.
The sad thing is literally this week I was having this very discussion because my last name is Williams, and I had a customer service representative that like, how do you spell your last name? And it was like Williams, and I was like, this is like the third, fourth most common name like on this planet almost, and you somehow can't get this. What the?
Wow.
Happened in the military a couple times too. It's like, how did you mess this up?
Well, I mean, some people want to pronounce their name a little different. You could have been while I am's or something else. I'm not sure. So the fact that they asked, I guess they're just taking it into consideration.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That could be it. So tell us about yourself, Max. Like, how'd you get into cannabis industry?
Oh, I mean, who doesn't love the cannabis industry, right? Yeah. So, I'll tell you. I mean, like, I grew up on the East Coast, way before it was ever, looked good upon. No, it's essentially like I got into. So I have a history with cannabis. Just growing up in New Jersey and New York, got out. Basically, short version of this is that I got into digital marketing, started doing some work for some large hemp, some really plain hemp companies back in 2018 when it all went good to go, and we took them and grew the company and did a lot of work for them. And they sold the company, and I didn't get a piece, even though we took them from like 600,000 to like 4.2 million, and then they brought it. So like and that's the thing. It's like this is a very restricted, area. This isn't like home services. This isn't like plumbing. This isn't like doing marketing for anything else out there. This is probably one of the most restricted, digital marketing platforms you could ever.
You're very limited. Like, I'm in a class right now where the professor talks about like things called like Lead Hub or something like that, and literally they do, like you said, home services,
right?
Air conditioning. It's easy to me. I'm like, that's easy to market. You can buy advertising for that. You can buy Google keywords.
Right. You can put I mean, and this is the thing. Like we deal with national clients. We were just doing a thing in Mississippi, and I guess Mississippi, it's actually illegal to put up billboards and advertise, period. So each state's a little different. Obviously, we're talking about Texas here, and Texas is, I don't know, we don't have a lot of clients here in Texas, to be honest. Like most of ours are on either coast or in different states. But I mean, we basically helped grow a few companies from, a couple 100,000 a year in online sales to a few million a year in online sales. And, just kind of like the behind the scenes operators, we did the job, we did the work, we got, paid for it. We got no credit for it. And when and basically, I mean, you've seen the trends, if you've gone to any trade show or seen the rebranding of a lot of these brands, that some people are in it to flip, some people are in it to keep it for long term, and other people just come in and they get burnt out, and somebody says, hey, I'll offer you a few $1 million for your brand. And they're like, done, and then it's like, you get a really nice thank you, pat on the back, great job. And then you're like, oh, how do I replace that revenue? So beginning of this year, end of last year, right around this time last year, I was just like, I had sort of like a mental thing. It was like post-COVID, coming out of it. I was like, I need to do something that's going to make me happy again, because I'm tired of, I put on like probably 80 pounds just working from home and not leaving and not doing anything and whatever. And I was like, I need to do something that's going to make me happy. And I was like, where are my best clients? And I was like, my best clients are in cannabis. And I started doing some research, and I was like, you know what? Why don't we just go all in on this and just go for it? So that's essentially what we did. It was basically like I fired half my my regular clients, and just went all in on cannabis marketing. And that includes CBD, that includes D8, that includes D9, that includes derivatives, THC, HHC, all the other stuff. And we've seen a 1,300% growth this year from our business alone, just in marketing. And that's the thing. It's like, I was able to speak at a bunch of different events. I was speaking at the Cannabis Marketing Summit up in Denver in June. I was speaking at KushCon down in Tampa earlier this year. And I think I ran into you guys at the A&M.
Yeah, I met you at the A&M Summit.
Yeah, at the A&M Summit. So the fact is that like most digital marketing people aren't really good talking to people or like even making it sound like it's human, because I've talked to some people who are like, oh, it's digital marketing. Good. And I'm just like, dude, you're dealing with cannabis, like, and you actually have to be able to talk to cannabis people, not like, hi, let me talk to you about your keywords and your SEO optimization and unpage stuff. No. So actually, I like talking about it. I have a passion for marketing. I have a passion for, helping small businesses grow. I'm still one of these guys that refuse. I would rather not eat than shop at Walmart. So like I'm
right there with you on that one.
It's like, I don't care where I'm at. Like, I'm like, dude, I would rather not get what I need than to go support another like big box store. I'd rather support small businesses, local growers, local owners, local, family run businesses or smaller operations, than like go and work for, big corporate stuff. So, half of our clients are legit, like just small businesses, like small farms, small growers, small edibles companies, some nonprofits. If you we're working with a couple like chamber groups, some that are actually like trying to push for like the legalization within their state, or like helping to get the laws written for their state. So it's good. It's weird because we're in Texas, and like obviously Texas isn't really like a very cannabis friendly state. Yeah, so it does give me the benefit of traveling a whole lot, and getting out of state and going to different coasts and meeting people and doing all that other stuff. But at the same time, it's like, every couple of weeks or so I'm back here for a couple of weeks, and then I'm back on the road again, doing whatever we got to do. And then when the thing at A&M happened, I was like, oh, I could actually drive to this, and I don't need to like book a flight booking. Like I only need to book a hotel. Like I actually drive, and like I don't need to plan all this other stuff. And I was like, I'll definitely go down there for that. That sounds awesome. So
it was quite the experience. I was actually surprised at how well the summit was set up. And I'm trying to think how to say that. I don't want to make it sound like a bunch of summits are set up poorly, but it was something I actually wanted to sit and listen to for once. Yeah. I actually wanted to hear what people had to say, where usually most conventions I go to, I want to see the booths more than the speakers.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I felt like the dumbest, smartest person in that room. When they started talking about cloning and the genetics of everything, I was like, I dropped out of college 3 times. I wasn't built for formal education, but man, and then I was, and then you get up and start talking marketing. It's like, listen, guys, like you guys are all really smart, but you got to learn how to sell this stuff, because that's really all that matters. Like you could have the greatest strain in the entire world, you could have the coolest grow in the entire world. If nobody knows about it, nobody's getting involved in it or buying it or supporting it or doing anything else. And that's basically where we come in. What
made me happy being there, is like watching you on the panel, and you and was it Reagan and Shada, and it was just something I was like, oh, these are people I can actually speak these terms to, and they're going to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about, hey, you guys need to learn how to market your products.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's funny too, because I think what happens, I don't know, I run in a lot of circles, and I mean, you get in this industry, and it's a big small industry, and everybody starts to know everybody else, and it's like it's kind of the same thing with like digital marketing people. You've got your SEO bubble of like marketers who only talk to other marketers, and SEO people that only talk to other SEO people. Then you've got your scientists and your geneticists and your manufacturers that only stay in that bubble. And we can kind of dance with a little bit of both. And I mean, my eyes may glaze over a bit when you start going into like the finer details, and then I'll just have to like bring the conversation back to the point. It's like, okay, cool. So what is the goal? How do you want to sell this, and who do you want to market it to? And that's and anything else. Because other than that, I'm like, dude, nobody wants to sit through a 4-hour diatribe on how you did this unless they're really, really interested. I know you're passionate about this, but the fact is that like most people aren't going to sit through a 4-hour sales pitch on how you actually figured out the formula of anything.
Well, they don't even want to sit through a 15-minute tribe of just jargon that's just engineering jargon.
Right. So it's essentially like, what is it? How does it help me? And, where can I buy it? Like, and if you can figure that out, if you can figure out your elevator pitch for your product and get eyes on it, then you'll start generating revenue.
Chris, what you got on your mind?
I'm just, I knew this was going to be a good conversation with what you're studying in school and what he's talking about with SEO and all that good stuff. I mean, I'm learning. I'm just here to learn.
Yeah. Well, that's all it is. I mean, the thing with this industry is like, and it's funny because you get so many people that, they're like social media, and everybody's social media account is eventually going to get shut down because anything cannabis related goes against terms of service, but at the same time, it's like, if you think about how you shop, I think I was talking about this. I was like, how do you shop? Do you go on your phone? You go such and such near me, like, or like, hey, food near me, or, whatever. Like, yeah, you don't go to social media, but like, hey, where can I buy the best, whatever, you just go to Google and you read reviews. Yeah. When you go, I mean, we just went through the I'm on team no sleep, no days off, by the way, because half of 3/4 of our clients are like e-com clients, and Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this whole week the whole past 2 weeks has just been insane with updates and sales and sites crashing and blowing up servers and getting them back up, and people going in at 3:00 adding coupon codes and then breaking their website, and then we're getting messages because their stuff doesn't work. So
it's always 3:00 in the morning. You're trying to figure out where the server's at, who's hosting it.
Yeah.
Do they have around the clock customer service?
We usually get access to all of that first, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you're on a cruise, you're on vacation. Why are you doing this from the cruise ship, trying to add code to your website to push out some weird coupon code?
Do this before you leave.
Just like randomly, like sporadically, like, hey, we're going to do this. And it's like, I think we should add an extra discount code to the website, not tell anybody about it. That's managing the website. It's like, and then
I know that's a mistake.
Yeah. And then freaking out because you're like, everybody's mad. The coupon goes. I was like, what coupon code? We did not discuss this. I just added it. It's like, great. That's really smart. Like, yeah. But this is part of the gig. This is part of the game. I mean, what are you going to do, right? You can't really do anything about it. But I think I totally went off subject. What were we talking about?
So you do all of that aspect too. You do the website management and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and yeah. So we were talking about social. So in regards to this, from a marketing standpoint, from cannabis, like the thing with marketing cannabis is like what's cool with Texas is that you've still got your good selection of like local CBD shops, DH shops, quote unquote, like head shops that aren't really head shops, but they're legal head shops. They did I live here in Frisco, and they were doing the Oktoberfest thing. And one of the guys here I forget the name of the brand, but he was out here like lighting up D8 joints on the street. He was like, I'm smoking legal cannabis. I was like, look at you, you're doing it. He was like, this is great. I'm just smoking legal cannabis on the street. I was like, that's awesome, dude. But anyway, so the thing with Texas, yeah, but also like go vote. And I don't understand why Texas isn't legal yet. Just that's a whole other conversation we can have.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's a whole other, because like, why not? You're losing how many millions of dollars every week because people are just driving to the border and supporting other states. And I think A&M proved that it can grow here. So that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, I think with what we're doing here is like, you gotta market to the local businesses, otherwise like people are just shopping online. So for the companies that are doing it locally, like, build some sort of local. It's not like you can get away with a lot of stuff with your local business here and getting people to your local business. I hear music. Should I shut up?
That's a good way of putting it. It's the first guest I've ever had and said, like, I guess I'll shut up.
Yeah, that's a new one.
I hear music and it's like kind of like closing. It's closing. No, I'm not gonna do it. But I was like, okay, this is the pause.
Well, it is time for our sponsor break here at the Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined by co-host Gramps this week. Our guest is Max Juhasz of DopeSEO.com. We will be right back after our sponsor messages.
Cliff Cultivators is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lonestar Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta-8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective Podcast, the official podcast of Texas Cannabis Collective. Distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams, and Gramps.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined this week by co-host Gramps. This week our guest is Max Juhasz of DopeSEO.com, Cannabis Marketing Solutions. Quite the discussion we've been having about SEO and digital marketing and bridging the divide between agricultural lingo and technical lingo and internet lingo.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really like the in-between, like the sponsorship stuff. The ads are good.
Thank you.
I would really want to know where the addresses are for some of these companies, though. They should probably drop it in their banners.
I will put that in.
Good pointer. Thank you.
Because I realize, I've put both of these together, and I'm like, I thought about that, the addresses, and was like, a lot of this seems to be people are doing. They want the products to be found online.
Right.
It doesn't hurt to put their physical address, though.
It does. I mean, if you got a physical location, it helps. It helps with searches and stuff.
And Thrive actually has two now.
Yeah. So, depending on where they're at. I mean, I don't even know what the medical pot here in Texas is even like, but I feel like, a little walk-in, little hey, hi, might be cool. But why not? Well,
that's the thing about Thrive. They're a full-blown CBD store. They've got all the Delta-8 merch and the Delta-9 hemp derived, right? But as far as the Texas Teacup program, I mean, after the last expansion in 2021, where they increased the percentage, and of course that's the hokey part. Everybody gets that wrong, and they think, oh, it's only 1%. It's by dry weight. So they actually can produce the two producers here in Texas for the teacup program actually do produce equivalent edibles and tinctures and drinks as any other state in the United States at this point.
Really?
But there's still no inhalable products. There's still no flour, none of that.
Right. But still, like, this is the first time I'm even hearing the.
You're not the first one.
Yeah.
To tell us that, right?
Yeah.
Jesse?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think that just goes to, for one, it's essentially like there needs to be. You guys just want to talk marketing? Let's talk marketing. So,
sure.
Yeah, that's what you're here for.
All right, cool. So I feel like when it comes to Texas, when it comes to cannabis, like there's a lot of misinformation, and there's not a lot of good information being shared out there. Because this is the first time I'm hearing that, from my understanding, I always thought the teacup program was bogus because it was like impossible to even get a card, or if you were getting a card, it was just bunk, like you're essentially getting dirt weed or dirt, dirt. You know what I'm talking about? Like just like bad
trash.
Nothing
That's going to do anything for you.
Yeah, nothing that's going to do anything. I mean, like you might as well just.
Well, the thing it was, there's two things. One, there's no such thing as a card in Texas. That's one reason why it was slow to start is because number one, it had only one restrictive condition of intractable epilepsy, and then it was only in a tincture form with the carrier oil was the only thing they could produce, and the carrier oil you had to take was so much of it that it made you sick, so not anybody really wanted to bother being on it.
Oh, and it had to be 1-to-1 too. It had to be literally 1-to-1 THC to CBD. It was
insane. And of course, very little, if any, THC. So if you had something that needed a lot of THC,
right,
you had to take like 2 cups of oil a day to get to what the doctor was telling you needed to take. So that has all gotten much, much better over the last 2 sessions. And of course, I can't even remember, there's over almost 200 neurological conditions that qualify, along with a whole lot of other things with PTSD, all cancer. So there's quite a few things that are out there. You could probably name off a few more. Multiple sclerosis. Jesse, you can think a couple others that are out there on the list.
Yeah, it's ALS, multiple sclerosis. Then those technically, like Lou Gehrig's, that technically falls under incurable neurodegenerative now, but they specifically wrote those into the bills when they put them out. And it's just that the bogus thing is we don't have flour.
Yeah.
And we don't have smokable.
Yeah.
So, and then I would say the flip side, the biggest piece of misinformation I continuously hear is you'll hear somebody get online. I have a card. I don't know what you guys are talking. I have a card. I had to produce a card for the police, and the police did this, and I went to court. And it's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
If you did, we want to see it.
That's your normal card. Like that's not your.
Yeah, probably.
They took the wrong pills out of the wrong bottle, and they've confused their library card with the cannabis card.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there should definitely be somebody that's doing a little bit more, just better marketing on that to bring awareness to it. Because, I feel like part of everybody else is like over the stigma already. Whether it's from a health standpoint, whether it's from a financial standpoint, whether it's from a small business standpoint, whether it's from a you're going to do it anyway standpoint. And I feel like a lot of states have just done better in regards to their marketing on why the state should go legal. It's when I was in Mississippi a couple months ago, they were like literally the residents of the state took the state to the Supreme Court and got cannabis passed.
Yeah,
because they tried to do some weird loophole with what are they? Parishes? Like there was like a non-existent parish and like all 5 parishes needed to say yes, but like
it was how the vote was done. This parish used to exist, and then it got merged in with something else.
Right.
Like, well, you needed 5. Technically, when you started this, there were 5. So now you need all. It's like, well, 5 don't exist.
Right, 5 don't exist. So they took them to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, "Hey, the people want marijuana. We're going to give the people marijuana," and like that's how they got it passed. So but that was like that was like a community action. That wasn't like big business. That wasn't like a corporation. That was the residents of the state taking it there and saying, we want it to go legal, regardless of what the current leadership says.
The thing we have here in Texas, not meaning to interrupt you or anything.
No, feel free.
The thing we have here in Texas is not really a thing. It's a person. And it's the position of lieutenant governor, which is the most powerful position in the state of Texas. Basically, we can pass a bill with every representative 100% voting for on the House and send that bill over to the Senate. It gets to the Senate. It goes to Dan Patrick's desk, or whoever the lieutenant governor is, goes to his desk. He sits there and goes, I like that bill. That one's going to this committee. I don't like that bill. That one's going to sit over here until the end of the session, and nothing's going to happen with it. And that's what we run into a lot of. And I keep saying exactly what you're saying. My message has been for the last 6 years now. We need to get more and more and more and more people involved. And the way we do that is through educating and like you're saying, marketing. We've got to come up with the right marketing plan.
Yeah, and the right messaging too, because I think that it really is. It's about educating. And I mean, there's so many different points to hit on. Whether of course, FDA regulations. You can't say what it heals and what it cures, but don't do it on your website. Don't claim to be a doctor if you're not. But at the same time, it's like it's a conversation I have to have on a daily basis. Stop saying it's going to heal this because you're not a doctor. Yeah. But like people are aware. People are aware of the benefits. People are aware. And I mean, let's just say this is like a pro business state. Just from the business standpoint, it's like, why wouldn't you want the money coming into the state? I mean, you're taxing everything else.
Our state's puzzling because even stuff we did get passed, like our hemp bill, we had to go to court. Yeah. Several businesses had to go to court to say, we think what the legislature has done was unconstitutional. Yeah. And even our state Supreme Court was like, well, it wasn't tradition for hemp to be in this state. That's part of our reasoning here. And it's like, what the hell are you talking? It was tradition all the way up until the 1900s. Wait, what?
Right.
Why does that even matter? The tradition.
The 1930s.
That some of your laws were written on in the 1900s. Where do you think that paper came from? That was hemp paper. That wasn't trees. Like,
and even then, it's one of those things of where does our state constitution say we need to follow a tradition? Yeah, so I don't know where that amendment's at, or it's listed in our state constitution.
I don't know. I feel like once you get a company like Tesla moving here, that's and we're going all green vehicles and everything else. Like that's I don't think we ever had electric car businesses here in Texas either. That goes against tradition. But
and he's if you didn't know, he's fighting the state of Texas because in the state of Elon Musk is because in the state of Texas. You cannot just sell the car straight from the factory to the person. It must go through a dealership.
Yeah.
And you can't be the owner of the dealership either. So he has to literally ship these cars out of state, then ship them back in to sell Teslas in Texas.
It's insane. It's insane. It's like, why can't you just make your own car and sell it? Why can't you grow your own weed and sell it? But hey, that's a whole other thing.
Why can't you just grow your own?
Why can't you just grow your own? I mean, I've got every other state allows you. It's like, listen, you can have up to, at least have up to 5 plants for your own use. Yeah. I mean, I know quite a few veterans that benefit from growing their own stuff and not having to go and pay anybody else. And it gives them a hobby too. And it gives them something to be passionate about, I don't know. That's a whole other bizarre question. If we're gonna talk marketing here, I mean, we're done with the music. The music's back. Anyway, anybody here in Texas that wants to talk marketing, feel free to reach out. This is what I talk about all day. So
we got one more segment. You still get some time to talk about more marketing.
All right, I'll be quiet.
All right,
I'm gonna let the music play.
All righty. Well, I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This is the Lonestar Collective podcast. My co-host this week, Gramps, aka Chris Grisolia. Our guest this week is Max Juhasz of DopeSEO.com. We'll be right back after our sponsor messages.
Cliff Cultivators Cultivators is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lonestar Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta 8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, the official podcast of Texas Cannabis Collective. Distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams and Gramps.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined by co-host Gramps this week. Our guest is Max Juhasz of DopeSEO.com, Cannabis Marketing Solutions.
Talking about marketing and messaging, here's a thought that I'm having, and I think we should attack from this point on, even before the session gets underway, with this message, because I'm sure you're aware of or you've heard about these 6 different ballot initiatives across the state of Texas, straight down I-35, that all passed with flying colors. And to me, that, Dan Patrick's big message has been, or his pushback is, well, the people of Texas just aren't there yet. When we ask him questions about legalizing cannabis or full medical programs with smokable products, et cetera. And so my question is, or my thought process is, that the message we should be driving home is just that, of those elections, those ballot initiatives. And look here, people, this is by far a majority. Don't tell us anymore that the people aren't there, because this proves it. This is election results.
Yeah. And I mean, are you talking about the decriminalization or the?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
those ordinances.
I mean, I guess that's the first step, but at the same time, it's essentially, I try to stay out of politics as much as I can, because
unfortunately we're in the middle of it.
I know, and we have to be, but it's like, I don't even know what to say. It's almost like, get in touch with with the people that are voting for you. Get outside of your office, get outside of your desk, get outside of your room, and actually go talk to the people, and talk to the people that's benefiting, and talk to the people that it can benefit from. And at the same time, get on the phone with some of the states that have gone legal in the last, not even 5 years, but the last 6 months. And go talk to New Mexico, right next door, and see how much revenue cannabis has brought in, how many jobs cannabis has brought in for the economy there.
Well, I would say that they've got that. They've got plenty of people who are coming into them and telling them and letting them know the benefits and how much money they're making and the type of revenue this is bringing in for the state. And they're all fine with that until one mother shows up in the office, because my kid went into a gas station and there was these in Delta 8 candies on the shelf, and nobody carded them, nobody asked them anything, and they came home with this giant gummy bear sack of Delta 8 candies. What are you going to do about it? And all of a sudden they're like, well, that mother represents every mother in Texas. That's another 10 million people that don't like this.
No,
can't do this.
No. That's essentially the lady that burned her. There's always going to be one. That's like the lady that sued McDonald's because the coffee was too hot and she burned herself.
But she was in the right, though.
Yeah. She was in the right, but at the same time, and this is the thing. It's like so let's just put it this way. For most states that are going legal, they're implementing the laws and the rules and the regulations on what you can and can't do. When you're stuck with and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Delta 8 or legal hemp D9 or THCP or anything else, but the fact is that like it's still a gray area. It's still technically a CBD or like a hemp derived product versus versus flower versus actual like THC. And I think like once you actually start dealing with real THC, you're going to see the education kick in more. You're going to see the stigma around it, go down more. I mean, they don't ban alcohol because somebody doesn't card a kid at a bar. I can guarantee you that if you go, or a liquor store or anything else, it's going to happen anyway. But the fact is that like,
well, that's what I try to present. That right there is that we don't ban alcohol because some kid was able to get beer on a beer run from the 7-Eleven. And they're like, well, we have things in place to punish for when that happens. It's like, okay, so instead of knee-jerk reaction of take this off the shelf, why don't we put the same mechanisms in place for cannabis? So why aren't we doing that? And all of a sudden, every agency's like, well, we need money. We need money to do that. And the legislature goes, oh, no money for that. No. It's strange. It's I call it the catch-22 of the cannabis community.
And at the same time, you can sit there and argue with them, and Jesse can verify this. You can sit there and tell them, well, but the revenue that'll come in from this will pay for it, what you're saying you need money for, and they don't. It's like talking to a brick wall.
Right. But at the same time, they want to add how many billions of dollars to the tax thing this year. I mean, I just voted a couple of weeks ago and it was like, we need our roads. We need to add an extra lane to all the highways. Let's turn them into 8-lane mega. I want to see them from, I don't even want to see them from space. I want to see them from I want to see the roads in Texas from Jupiter,
Question. Are you're in Frisco, right?
Yeah.
Are you happen to be in Denton County part of Frisco?
I am still I believe I'm Denton County. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know which referendum you're talking about. It was like $650 million. It
was outrageous. Yeah.
They wanted to add to the county road and highway budget. I was like, that's a no.
Right. For what? So you could tear up the highways again and repave again and do, it's, come on, man. Keep our roads safe. I think that money could go many other places to so many other people.
And there's a catch-22 with all of that as well. Like we're all sitting here going, this item's going to pay and have taxes put on it, and you get the revenue and you pay for these things with that revenue. And it's the catch-22 is that the cannabis community tends to be in the off season, outside of legislative session. They go, won't you just legalize it and tax it so we have all this money? And when the session rolls around and they start talking about putting taxes on it, they're like, how dare you tax this? You're going to tax us into the black market. Don't do that. Don't tax it.
But I mean, there's a way to do it. I mean, there's a way to do it to where it's fair for everyone. I mean, there's a tax on literally everything here. I mean, that's why tax-free weekend is such a big deal. God, how great would that be if they did legal cannabis and tax-free weekend rolled around? And oh man, that would.
Cannabis is my school supply, guys.
Oh, but that would be so great.
Imagine being an agriculture student to like A&M going, cannabis is a product of my learning environment. I need a tax break on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I just feel like there's a lot of education. I mean, let's put it this way: if we can get enough people saying, "Hey, we want this," even if I know there's advocate groups, but I don't think they're well funded, in regards to like how they even if they have a budget for marketing, other than like we show up when there's a vote and we talk to the lawmakers, but there has to be some sort of budget to
that's why I'm here. Ask Chris. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. We're definitely working on things here at the collective to try to further that.
Okay.
Whether or not we'll be successful or not, we're going to do some things like we're planning on a big opening day thing to where we take you around, take people that want to come to the Capitol on opening day because it's the best day to come and meet your reps, right? You might actually get to meet them and shake their hand. You don't talk about business that day. You just say, hey, I'm here. I'm your constituent. Nice to meet you. And then they've seen your face, right? You signed a little book. You were there. And in the book, you can put what you support or whatever if you want. But we're talking about putting that together and have people come in, maybe provide a breakfast. We're talking about coordinating this with some other coalition members as well, some other organizations, and do that on opening day. And then, of course, there's also lobby day that we'll have.
Right.
That we need to do a real good job of promoting starting like January 1. I mean, people aren't really going to listen this month. They got one thing on their mind, and that's Christmas coming up, but that message has really got to start hammering 1st of January, because opening day is the 10th. So we only got 10 days to get that one out there.
Well, I mean, that's the messaging has to be there, and the people are going to support, because otherwise it's going to be the same old. And I don't know. I just feel like if you run a small business here, you're doing any sort of in the industry, even if it's CBD and Delta 8 and all the other stuff, like get active, get proactive, because you can, like if you can help push the bar, along, like, you have to be willing to take the risk. I always thought, when I moved here, I thought that this was a go get them kind of thing. And I feel like there's a lot of like passivity around it, to where it's like, well, we just can't do anything because of the way it is. And it's just like, dude, like, I don't know. I feel like this needs to be an Alamo thing.
Yeah. Listen, like this last year, when I go to events and I've actually had a chance to speak, and people go, what do we need to do? I'm like, right now you need to find a group, an advocacy group that puts out updates. And when they tell you there's an update of it's time to show up to the Capitol, you need to be subscribed. That way when to show up.
Yeah.
I was like, and then when we get into that phase, be paying attention, and we tell you to show up. That way we have the numbers. And the shop owners, I tell them, hey, if you don't want to lose this, you need to start telling your customers about this and informing them about it, because this is your business.
Right.
Well, I'm not into politics. It's like, well, then your business will go away if you're going to be silent and complicit with it.
Right. Yeah. Right. I almost feel like somebody should pick up some billboards around the
Capitol. We've already seen the bills for going after all the derivatives, the Delta 8 and HHC.
Yeah, and that's kind of scary too, because once if they start banning that, then that's going to what you're basically talking about is a bootlegger market, kind of like the 20s. You're going back to prohibition, because everybody got a taste, and the fact is, it's like it's kind of like living in a dry city or a dry state or a dry county, and you do the run and then you come back because you can't buy it anywhere else. If you do that to CBD and D8 and D9, it's only going to accentuate that more for what's going to happen for the local shop owners.
I used to live up in Harker Heights in the early 2000s, and Killeen, which is right against Harker Heights, was a dry city.
Right.
And Harker Heights was not. And you knew when you entered Harker Heights, because the moment you hit that line, it was bar, liquor store, bar, pawn shop, bar, liquor store, gun store, bar, liquor store. And it's like, oh, I wonder why this has happened.
Right. And it's almost like when you drive north or when you drive west, and as soon as you cross that line, cannabis, stop here, close, Yeah. And it's funny too, because it's like you can buy it now. And I guess they've decriminalized it enough to where you can even get caught with it now and not get smacked for it. But it's like, I don't know. It's tough. I'm really passionate about this industry. I love this industry. I feel like Texas really needs to get on the ball with what's going on here. Just for so many reasons. And it's just like, if you just do it from a greed standpoint, just do it, just do it so that small businesses can make money again, because I feel like cannabis really is, it's the great equalizer on so many levels, to where it's like you can have, minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, competing with the corporate-owned businesses and making money and being profitable and having a voice, on so many levels. And it's like, why wouldn't you want that? I feel like that's just something. That's a whole other topic right there. But from a agricultural, like, hey, we have so much land that we don't build up anymore. We just build out. And land is cheap, and this is still like one of the biggest growth markets in the entire country. And I just know that if they were to open up, if you think about all the land that's available in Texas, you know, you drive anywhere, you drive anywhere, you know, you drive a couple hours west, you know, and you just see those gigantic spinning, what are those things? The wind turbines or whatever.
The wind turbines.
Can you imagine the pot fields that could be, the hemp fields that could be grown, the industry, the hempcrete and everything else that goes into this? That could be like Texas grown, Texas, you know, there's some pride in that, where it's like support your local farmers, support all the other local people, but it's like, you know, from it, so and
there it creeps in. Saved by the bell.
Music's back.
So do you have any final website? Let's say plug your website.
Oh, it's dopeseo.com. Max Juhasz here. Hey, that was what I want to talk about too. So get reviews, get the word out, and actually, and if you can't afford a whole bunch of SEO, get product reviews for your products, because that's one of the best ways to do it. And I totally should have messaged that, but we got on something. I'm just gonna be quiet. Thanks, guys.
Well, that's the best time to put the important messages right at the end. That way everybody has to listen to the whole 40-something minutes to get to the most important part. You tell them the important part's in there somewhere, but they finally got to get through all of it.
Yeah. No, but seriously, if you guys are going to go do, like, I'll help do some marketing for whatever you guys are doing if it's going to the state capitol, if you need people to do it. So
awesome. Well, we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We thank you for joining us. We thank you for joining us this week.
Oh, it is fun. Thanks for the invite.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Lone Star Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined by co-host Gramps this week. Our guest was Max Juhasz of DopeSEO.com, Cannabis Marketing Solutions. We hope everybody has a safe week. Everybody stay safe and stay warm, my friends. Adios.
Peace.
Go vote.